CEO of the Week. And I'm delighted to welcome Dominic O'Meara, who is the Chief Executive of Supernova. Dominic, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Great to be here. Good evening. And hello, everyone listening.
Yes, exactly. Say hello to my listeners. My listeners can text in on 87222 to give me my thoughts on whatever you want to give me thoughts on. And I think you'll have thoughts on this. So, Dominic, you used to work in advertising. Is that right?
Yes, well, of course, I still do because, Supernova is an advertising-funded social network.
Okay, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, Dominic, because what we want to say is let's describe what Supernova is. Supernova is now a kind Twitterer. Can I put it that way?
Well, I think what we'd say is it's a social network for a positive world. It's certainly a social network that promotes kindness, inclusivity, and fun. I wouldn't actually compare it immediately to Twitter particularly. It would be similar to some of the larger, more photo and image-based social networks that your listeners will be very familiar with, Instagram, somebody like that.
Yes, I've downloaded the app, so it's very similar. It's very similar to Instagram in terms of look and feel. But tell us what the twist is and why listeners should be thinking about getting on board Supernova.
Certainly. Well, it's easy to use because it is familiar. It'll be familiar from that point of view to most of your listeners. But what differentiates Supernova significantly from any other social network really is the underlying mechanics. And it's built upon the intent to promote a spirit of kindness, inclusivity, and fun. And one of the first things that will strike you is that on Supernova, likes aren't really likes. They're more like votes for the cause of your choice. You choose from... As you sign up, you choose from one of 8 causal areas. And from that moment on, you're collectively supporting that causal area. So, every time you receive a like for a post of yours, that's like a vote for that causal area that you're supporting to get a share of our action fund, which we contribute to from our advertising revenue. And when you give a like to someone else's post, that's like a vote for their cause. So what's going on is that what we leave behind is the narcissistic competition, to see who can get the most likes as an individual. Instead, we have a common collective and more purposeful cause, which is to support, to help support commonly shared causes for a share of the action fund.
So what is it?
Action fund is,
Sorry, I interrupted. Carry on.
No, well, that action fund I was going to say is money that we put in and we divert it from the advertising revenue that we get from running ads on the network, which we do in a similar way to say Instagram or someone like that. But again, what's different here is that the advertisers are now part of that journey. They're part of that experience for the user. So instead of the ad bugging you to look at them or coming in uninvited or without any clear role, instead what they're doing is they're helping to pay for the fact that the advertising revenue is being sent to support the cause of your choice. So they're playing an active part in achieving that positive outcome.
So basically what happens is I go on Supernova as a user. You will serve me ads. That's not a criticism. I would have identified a cause, say the environment, for just using shorthand here. And every time my post gets a like, a fraction... I will get a fraction of the money that you raise through advertising, some of which you put into a good causes fund. A fraction of that will go towards my cause, the environment.
Exactly.
But if I get 10,000 likes for my post, a certain amount of money will go to the environmental cause because I've said I'm interested in the environment. So that's good. Now, how are you...
Indeed.
Now, there's a certain element of eye-rolling going on, I suspect, from my listeners, because how are you going to ensure, because there's a bit of a sort of touchy-feely about this. I mean, how are you genuinely going to ensure that people are kind of nice to each other on this site and that people don't post horrible comments when I put a picture of myself
that's a good
up?
Question. Well, I on Supernova, they won't, Ed. You'll be safe there. It's a good question. And so let me give you the answer to that. What's happening with the underlying mechanics that I described to you is we're giving people a more positive flavor and purpose for their use of social media. What we see is that not just millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people want to use social media. 5 billion of us nearing around the world use it, for a total of 4 trillion hours a year. And in using Supernova in such a positive way, what we're introducing is this more a collegiate spirit, this more communal spirit, and people therefore have a more positive frame of mind when they use it. And we're finding that works. The numbers speak for themselves. I described to you just now, how people's likes are like votes for the cause of their choice. But what we also do is we deployed a system of karma, so that every user that uses social media, uses Supernova, as they use it, accumulates karma points. And when their karma is complete, and you can see your karma actually, there's a karma bar at the top of the app which tracks your improving karma. And when your karma is complete, you can give a Supernova. And you can give a Supernova because the little Supernova logo glows on every post. And it's at that point that you can decide to give a Supernova. And when you do, there's an animated effect on the screen, which is very exciting, it's very involving, it's very positive. And so that's a very nice reward for you as the giver. And the receiver gets 10 votes for the cause that they're supporting. So there's this great spirit going on, very, very, exciting.
And
as you can imagine from a name like Supernova. There's a very, very good effect. So that's causing a great frame of mind. And then beyond that, to ensure that, everybody's behavior is in line with our charter. We have a charter that tells people what we're expecting from them and how we want them to behave. And to ensure that it's very simple, we've kept it very simple.
You've got my producer going, because he's now he's put Champagne Supernova on in the background. But just before you leave us, tell us how you're doing. I mean, how many users have you got? What's the plan to scale and wipe Instagram off the face of your smartphone?
That's a great question, Ed. Well, we've served 21 million content impressions to date, and I just want to tell you that there's effectively 0% toxicity on the app. We've grown entirely organically. We've done no marketing spend at all. Our numbers are increasing, and what we're doing now is simply, we've found that it's a very powerful proposition behind which we're getting investment to scale it, and we'll deploy that investment very wisely based on most effective channels that we've found through advertising and marketing. As you say, that's my background, so it's something with which I'm very familiar.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Dominic O'Meara, for coming on and telling us all about Supernova, which you can download on your smartphone now. I have downloaded it, and I better send it to all my contacts so I've got other people to follow. Anyway, thanks so much for coming on the show, Dominic.
Thank you for having me.